Right now, somewhere in China, a tiny electric car is quietly weaving through morning traffic. It isn't a prototype, it isn't a neighborhood golf cart, and it isn't a used car rescued from a junkyard. It's an everyday vehicle that thousands of people rely on to get to work, pick up groceries, and take their kids to school. The shocking part isn't how small it is, it's the price, about $1,000. In the United States, that amount wouldn't even buy the battery pack for most modern electric cars. Most people already think they know why. Cheap labor, government subsidies, copied technology, simple. Except, none of those explanations can fully account for what you're about to see. Because this story isn't really about a cheap car, it's about something much bigger. And by the end of this video, you may never look at the global auto industry the same way again. The first reaction from most Americans is almost always the same. That can't be a real car. Its tiny wheels, compact body, and simple design make it look more like a toy than a vehicle capable of sharing the road with full-sized SUVs. Then it quietly pulls into traffic, and nobody around it seems surprised. For Mr. Jiang, a retired factory worker living in a smaller Chinese city, this little EV has become part of his daily routine. Every morning he unplugs it from a standard household outlet, drives to the neighborhood market, loads fresh vegetables into the back, and heads home. To him, it isn't revolutionary. It's simply practical. The numbers are difficult to ignore. Around $1,000 buys an entire vehicle. Not luxurious, not designed for cross-country road trips, but perfectly capable of handling short daily commutes. Ironically, in America, that same amount often wouldn't cover the replacement cost of an EV battery pack alone. That's the first assumption to fall apart. Cheap labor might explain lower costs, but it doesn't explain this. Something much larger is hiding beneath that price tag. Now pull the camera higher. The tiny car you just saw isn't an exception. Rows of compact electric cars stretch across dealership lots. Different colors, different brands, different sizes. Some resemble miniature SUVs. Others look like city hatchbacks built for crowded streets. It's an entire category of vehicles that barely exists in the American conversation. A local dealer walks between the rows without treating any of them as unusual. Customers stop by after work. Some compare battery range. Others compare monthly electricity costs instead of fuel economy. Parents discuss which model is easier to park near apartment buildings. The conversation feels completely ordinary. That's what makes it extraordinary. Dozens of manufacturers now compete in this market. Millions of drivers have already accepted these vehicles as everyday transportation. This isn't one company chasing headlines. It's an entire ecosystem serving a different definition of mobility. At this point, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. The mystery isn't whether a $1,000 car exists, it clearly does. The real mystery is how an entire industry learned to build vehicles like this while the world's largest automotive market never did. And strangely enough, the answer isn't hiding inside the car itself. The smartphone company that humiliated Ferrari. At first, the idea sounds almost laughable. A company famous for smartphones claims it can build one of the fastest production cars in the world. Then someone parks that car next to a Ferrari, not just any Ferrari, a Ferrari SF90XX, a machine carrying decades of racing heritage and costing more than £500,000. On paper, this shouldn't even be close. As the starting lights count down, even the presenters seem unsure what will happen. The Ferrari driver smiles confidently. The Xiaomi driver jokes about simply trying to survive the launch. The lights turn green. For a split second, everything looks normal. Then the Xiaomi explodes off the line. Within moments, the Ferrari is no longer chasing victory. It's chasing the Xiaomi. Even the people inside the cars can't stop laughing in disbelief. The numbers are astonishing. 3 electric motors, over 1,500 horsepower, more torque than a Bugatti Chiron. A standing quarter mile completed in just over 9 seconds. Yet the most shocking statistic isn't the performance, it's the price. The Xiaomi costs only a fraction of what the Ferrari does. That destroys another assumption. China isn't simply learning to build inexpensive cars, it's learning to build world-class performance cars too. But speed isn't the real breakthrough. In fact, It's only a distraction from the much bigger story. Now leave the racetrack and step into an American dealership. A young couple sits across from a finance manager. They aren't comparing horsepower. They aren't debating battery chemistry. They're staring at one number printed on the contract, the monthly payment. The salesman asks a familiar question. What monthly payment are you comfortable with? Not, what car can you afford? That subtle difference changes everything. For millions of Americans, buying a vehicle isn't about the total price anymore. It's about stretching the loan long enough to make the payment feel manageable. Longer financing terms, higher interest rates, growing negative equity. For many households, expensive vehicles remain profitable, not because they're affordable, but because the financial system has adapted to support them. The entire business model rewards larger vehicles with higher margins. That's why simply building a cheaper car doesn't automatically solve the problem. America doesn't just manufacture vehicles differently, it sells them differently. And if the answer isn't hiding inside the battery or inside the dealership, then where is it? Most people search for the secret inside the car, inside the battery, inside the motor, inside the factory. But what if they've been searching in the wrong place all along? Because the real advantage isn't a single invention. It's something you can only see once you step back far enough to view the entire system. The factory that barely needs people. Walk into one of China's newest EV factories, and something immediately feels different. You hear the sound of machinery. You see sparks flying. Hundreds of robotic arms move in perfect synchronization. Entire vehicle bodies glide from one station to the next. But after several minutes, one detail becomes impossible to ignore. There are remarkably few people. On an elevated control platform, a manufacturing engineer quietly watches dozens of production lines through live dashboards. He isn't holding a wrench. He isn't welding steel. He isn't installing doors. His job is to monitor an entire production system that rarely stops moving. Instead of building cars himself, he's supervising machines that build cars for him. That subtle shift represents one of the biggest changes in modern manufacturing. Many of these factories are designed to eliminate every unnecessary movement. Large aluminum castings replace dozens of smaller welded parts. Battery assembly happens close to vehicle production. Software updates are integrated directly into manufacturing. Suppliers often operate only minutes away instead of hundreds of miles apart. Every minute saved, every truck eliminated, every production step simplified. Each improvement may seem small on its own, but together, they dramatically reduce cost, time, and complexity. For decades, people believed the factory itself was the competitive advantage. Today, that's no longer true. A factory can be copied, a building can be replicated. The real advantage lies in everything connected to that factory. And that's where this story takes an unexpected turn. Now the camera pulls back once again. A massive vehicle carrier slowly leaves port. Thousands of brand new electric vehicles fill every deck from bow to stern. From a drone's perspective, the ship seems less like transportation and more like a floating factory crossing the ocean. Standing on the dock, a logistics manager barely looks impressed. To him, another ship leaving on schedule isn't breaking news. It's simply another day at work. Tomorrow, another vessel will arrive. Another will depart. The cycle repeats with remarkable precision. That routine tells you everything. The evidence behind every vehicle on board is an invisible network. Battery suppliers, motor manufacturers, semiconductor companies, software developers, rail terminals, ports, shipping companies, testing facilities, thousands of independent businesses moving in coordination. No single automaker owns this network, yet every major automaker inside it benefits from it. That's the moment another assumption quietly disappears. This isn't BYD's advantage. It isn't Xiaomi's advantage. It isn't even China's advantage because of one company. It's the advantage of an industrial ecosystem that allows hundreds of companies to move faster together than any one company could ever move alone. Up to this point, we've been looking at cars, then factories, then ports. Each one revealed another piece of the puzzle. but none of them explains the whole picture by itself. To understand why a $1,000 car exists and why a smartphone company can challenge Ferrari, you have to stop looking at individual companies altogether. You have to look at the map. Now forget the factories, forget the cars, forget Ferrari. Instead, imagine looking down from space. A battery manufacturer sits only a few miles from a motor supplier. Just beyond that, another company produces power electronics. Nearby are aluminum foundries, software developers, battery recyclers, research labs, testing centers, logistics hubs, ports, and final assembly plants. Individually, they look like separate businesses. Together, they function like one enormous machine. Ask a supply chain manager how this system works, and he probably won't start by talking about cars. He'll talk about distance, lead time, inventory, communication. When engineers solve a manufacturing problem in one factory, suppliers often respond within hours, not months. Design changes spread through the network with astonishing speed because almost everyone is operating inside the same industrial ecosystem. That's incredibly difficult to recreate from scratch. At this point, every clue from the beginning of this story starts falling into place. The $1,000 car, the crowded EV dealerships, the Xiaomi that outran a Ferrari, the highly automated factories, the endless stream of export ships. None of them happened independently. They are all different expressions of the same underlying system. That's why trying to explain China's EV industry by pointing to cheap labor, subsidies, or battery prices alone always feels incomplete. Those are pieces of the puzzle. They were never the puzzle itself. The real competitive advantage isn't a company, it isn't even a technology. It's an ecosystem where suppliers, engineers, manufacturers, software developers, logistics companies, and ports continuously improve one another. The $1,000 car isn't the miracle, it's simply the easiest symptom to see. Detroit and Shenzhen are playing different games. For more than a century, Detroit perfected one of the greatest manufacturing systems the world had ever seen. It transformed America into an automotive superpower, but the rules that created that success were written for a different era. Shenzhen grew under very different conditions. Instead of building one dominant automaker surrounded by suppliers, it developed dense industrial clusters where hundreds of companies evolved together. Competition and cooperation happened simultaneously. Ideas moved faster. Components moved faster. Factories adapted faster. That doesn't automatically mean one model will replace the other, but it does explain why today's competition feels fundamentally different from anything the industry has faced before. The biggest lesson from this story has very little to do with one cheap electric car. The same manufacturing network capable of producing affordable EVs can also build batteries, industrial robots, autonomous driving hardware, drones, energy storage systems, and entirely new categories of intelligent machines. That's why governments around the world are paying such close attention. This isn't simply a race to build better cars. It's a race to build the industrial platform that could power the next generation of advanced manufacturing. And whoever builds that platform most efficiently may shape far more than the future of transportation. At the beginning of this video, the $1,000 car looked like the story. Now it feels more like the clue. Because the real question was never whether America could build a car that cheap. The real question is whether any country can build the kind of industrial ecosystem that makes products like this almost inevitable. And in the decades ahead, that answer may matter far more than the price of any single car.